All right, and they are off. So right away, our runners are going to be setting up a very important glitch for this run. They are going to go into their menu and turn on memory cursor, as well as some other options to speed up the run. But the important one for the PSP any percent is the memory cursor here, because that will allow us to do this glitch that both of our runners are currently performing, which allows us to essentially create items and armor that we're not supposed to have for this point. It's a bug that in the memory index of the game, where it's like we have a item, like say for example we have the hammer that our runners have here in our inventory. That item has a certain index number in its memory, and then when we switch it from a weapon slot to an armor slot on a different character, the game thinks we should have the armor item of that same memory index, and thus when we switch between characters, instead of seeing the hammer, we see the knight's armor in this instance here. And so because of this, we're able to create weapons and armor from essentially nothing, as well as we can do that multiple times as long as we don't have a copy of it already in our inventory. So as far as equipment is concerned, we are, very well set up for this run. There's very little we need to do in terms of detouring to make sure that we are all set up for this run. So this is a very fast category compared to other versions of this same game here. And if you miss the glitch the first time, actually our runners will be performing it again very shortly here, as Canucker is the first one to make it into the Chaos Shrine. He's in this wolf ambush having a little bit difficulty running at the moment. These early encounters are still difficult to run from because we don't have anything to help us facilitate running there. So, but if you look here on your right here, Canucker just picked up the leather cap now, and will be performing that equipment glitch again to turn that leather cap into the Judgment Staff. Now, the Judgment Staff is a bonus game staff that was added to the four elemental dungeons that were added to the GBA remake of this game and were carried over into the PSP version. The Judgment Staff, when used as an item, casts the spell Flare. And that is a very powerful spell, and it's going to serve us for most of our AoE damage here in this early game. But for this particular fight against Garland here, the Judgment Staff gives us enough of a boost to our physical attack here that it's actually faster, rather than sit through Flare's long animation twice to kill him, that we can just smack him to death with the light bulbs. So both of our racers now on the Garland fight. Suiko just finishing up. There's a nice crit on Canucker's side there, and so finishing up very shortly behind. So both of our racers coming out of the Garland fight with no problems right now. All right, so while we have a few cutscenes here to kind of just catch up on the plot. So the princess was kidnapped by Garland, and the king tasked us with rescuing her because he believes us to be the four warriors of light, and essentially rescuing the princess was our test to prove that we are indeed those warriors of legends. So we rescued the princess now, and and we talked to her in order to obtain the loot from her. This is a key item that we're actually not going to use until the very end of the game, but it was possible in the original NES version to completely miss out on getting this item here. So the game, in the remakes, they made sure that you couldn't possibly forget this item. If you try to leave the room without talking to her, there's actually about I want to say like a 10-second additional scene, something like that there, where she will call you back, and you have to watch as you walk slowly back to her, and then you have to mash through the text boxes again to get the loot here. So both of our runners now are going to be making their way to Provoca. We have this little bridge cutscene here. Some cutscenes in this game are skippable. Some of them are not. This is one of the few that is not skippable. So the runners will just have to mash through this text box in order to advance the plot here, but we'll be able to leave Cornelia Castle here now. We're going to make our way around the castle to over this bridge, and if you look on Suikoboj's side, on the left side of your screen here, there's going to be a little bit of fade-in, start of a cutscene, and then we just skip it. One of the very, very much appreciated quality of life changes that was added to the PSP version was the ability to skip some of these obligatory cutscenes here. So now we're essentially out of the early game, and random encounters are going to play a significant factor from this point on in terms of who is in the lead in this race here. As I mentioned previously, we are well prepped as far as what we need for gear and equipment in this run. So there's not a whole lot we have to do in terms of ensuring that we're ready to take on the fights we need there, because the equipments that we glitch onto our party are, because they're intended for late game, are so overpowered for this early game portion here. We don't need to stop to do additional level grinding or anything like that. Our weapons stats will actually carry us for a tremendous amount of this game here, as Canucker is the first one to make it into provoke Suikoboj getting just a little bit bad encounter luck here. Canucker is going straight into the pirate fight, while Suikoboj is making a slight detour to do some shopping now to grab some additional supplies here. If you look on your right side screen, so the Canucker now is using that Judgment Staff to cast that Flare spell. That is just the fastest way to take out this group of pirates rather than trying to physically hit them down, which would take 3 rounds of combat. That 8-second Flare animation is still much faster than sitting through those rounds there. So we beat up the pirates now, and we obtained the ship, and this is our first item that allows us to really obtain some overworld travel here. So Canucker is now doing his shopping here. Looks like he's going to pick up a few extra supplies if he didn't already have them. Because I did see that he did initial shopping in Cornelia. This is kind of a preference between runners in what they want to do. It depends on what items they think they'll need for this early portion of the game. And I believe since both of these runners will be running the Black Mage version of the Lust Dagger route, so there's essentially 3 versions of this route for the PSP any percent category, and it looks like both of our runners here will be running the more modern route of the Black Mage Lust Dagger. So there won't be too much I can explain in terms of differences with visual example today here, but that is just one of the many stylistic choices that can be made here in this run. Both of our runners now getting encounters on the water here. Canucker unfortunately getting the worst end of the RNG here. The Sahagan encounters in the early game, not only are they agile, and so you have to wait for them to take their turns often before you can go, but it looks like Canucker was able to get out of there. The way there, he did get that ambush on top of that. So yeah, these early game encounters are going to be a big thing that causes lead swings back and forth, and will be the determining factor between who can catch up if they fall, if the unfortunate happens and someone falls behind in this race here. So Canucker, as you just saw, ducked into the castle there and then quickly turned around. That was to reset essentially the threat level that the party has traversing this overworld map here. While you're walking in the overworld, you have a chance to generate random encounters. Unlike the NES version where you had a step route, in remakes the random encounters are true random here. And the unfortunate part about this portion of the game here is that they have all these forest tiles they have to walk over. Forest tiles have the highest chance of generating encounters with plains, and then marsh desert tiles, and then water tiles respectively, going from high encounter to low encounter rate there. So by ducking into town like that, we reset that back to the base level. It doesn't, you still have the chance that you can potentially take 2 steps out of town and still run to encounter, but it's just a little thing that helps there, as Suikoboj now is our first runner to make it into the Marsh Cave here. The Marsh Cave is not a terribly dangerous dungeon for at least this early portion, especially because we have Knight's Armor equipped. So the Knight's Armor, I guess this is a good time to talk about it, is essentially the strongest defensive armor you can get before you start picking up the more magical gear, I guess is a way to say it, from other bonus dungeons and such like that there. So Suikoboj stepped on this tile in front of this chest, and this is what our first instance of what a trap tile is. When you step on a trap tile, you are guaranteed to get an encounter, and it will be the same encounter group every single time. So Suiko get actually really good RNG here on the 4-pack because that feeds into EXP into his Black Mage. The unfortunate downside is that his Thief did go down there. So it's not the worst thing, especially in this early game and the early level curve. Experience curves, what's it called? The Thief will be able to catch up, but the two characters you really want to watch for this run as Canucker now makes his way onto his Pisca Demon tile. 3 is also very good for EXP there. It's not quite as good as 4, but with our next boss fight, she should have no problem getting the level thresholds that they need for the Black Mage there. We are watching specifically our Thief and our Black Mage for these runs because the Thief will eventually become a ninja, and he will be our best damage dealing character on our party, and the Black Mage is going to be our with this version of the Lust Dagger route will be our most consistent AoE magic damage dealer for the as we make our way through any unrunnable encounters we get in this run. So both of our runners now leaving the Marsh Cave, and they're making their way up to the Northwest Castle. So in that chest that was guarded by that Pisca Demon's trap tile was a quest item that was the crown. A lot of this early game because this is a remake of those early 8-bit NES RPGs, to kind of expand the content out. There was a lot of this back and forth fetch questing that you had to do. So we still have to go through all that. Unfortunately, we have yet to find any way to sort of sequence break this game. So we do have to go through this early slog of fetch questing, but with the equipment we have, it's not nearly as bad because we can just power through and just tank everything here. So Suikoboj now is our first runner to make it to Astos. Here he is our next boss that we are going to fight here, and this is where EXP on the mages starts to factor in, because the magic damage from the flare spell, despite how powerful the base damage of flare is, does still scale with intelligence here. So it looks like Suikoboj is taking the safer approach to physical with the warrior and the thief, while the mages do the judgment stat. A little unfortunate there, a little bit mismenu. The white mage threw a potion instead of getting the judgment stat there, but a crit from both the thief and the warrior, making up the damage that was missing on the black mage's roll. So still a first try Astos with no death spell. Canucker now on the Astos fight as well. Judgment stat 114 on the white mage, and let's see the damage roll on that black mage there. 213, so just enough to take them out there with that physical hit from the thief there. So killing Astos gets our next plot progression item, which is the Crystal Eye, and we will be taking this Crystal Eye to the Witch Matoya in the northern portion of this little, I guess, landlocked area, you can call it, that we find ourselves in, and then that will give us our next progression item, which will then lead into one final progression item before we can finally get out of this little early game area. As both of our owners now just gotta backtrack here. This is where we might see a little bit of a lead change depending on what kind of encounter luck we have. But in this early portion of the game here, both of our runners very, very close behind. Suikoboj detouring to pick up black magic on the black mage here. So Fyra and Thundara. This is why EXP for this early portion of the black mage route is important, because we want to make sure that black mage is level 8 so that we can buy Fyra and Thundara. Suikoboj now also detouring to pick up some gold needles. This is a safety item for races. In a race setting, we will be running as we enter Earth Cave. We will be running into enemies which can petrify us, and unfortunately, the only way we have to cure that petrification right now is gold gold needles. We don't pick up the white magic spell that would undo it, and there isn't any other method besides those two that I've mentioned. As Canucker now also detouring to do his shopping to pick up those gold needles as well. This is a tournament. This is a tournament race, and it is both of our runners want to make sure that they can finish. So these small detours to do for safety items, safety saves, these are expected and absolutely encouraged in a race setting because we want to make sure that both of our runners finish there. So making our way up now north to Matoyo's cave here. Suikoboj, if on your left-hand side of the screen, if you notice, taking a little bit of a wonky path here. This is to avoid stepping on forest tiles, as I previously mentioned, trying to do everything we can to minimize that chance of random encounters there. So now we're at Matoya's cave. Get a little bit of a cutscene here. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that there. Again, everyone in chat, welcome in if you're just joining us. This is Total Chaos. It is a PSP any % Final Fantasy 1 tournament. We are currently in our group stages of matches, and our racers today are Suikoboj and Canucker267. We will be okay. So Suikoboj now has that Jolt Tonic. That is our next progression item. As Canucker just started his cutscenes. So depending on the encounter look Suiko gets as he backtracks to Elfheim, Canucker might potentially have the chance to do a little bit of catch up here. These leads will kind of go back and forth, but there are several points in this run which will swing RNG back and forth just because of the encounter rates, as Canucker getting a little bit bodied by the brooms there, just dodging that broom block on the door outside of Matoya's room. Unlike the NES version, NPCs in the remakes can still move if they are not on screen. So if you get stuck in a doorway and can't progress through, it might be because an NPC you can't see is just blocking the doorway, and that is annoying because there have been several circumstances where runners of these games have had lost upwards of 30 seconds to a minute because a NPC would not get out of the way. Suikoboj now making his way to the Elfland Castle without too much detailed difficulties there. Gonna hand the Jolt Tonic we got from Matoya to this aid, which will awaken the Elven Prince, and he will award us with the Mystic Key. Now, the Mystic Key is one of the more relevant plot items to just general gameplay, because the Mystic Key allows us to open some rooms which were previously locked and inaccessible to us, and we're going to make use of that right away here. We're going to duck out of Elven Castle, and our party is a little annoyed that all we got for all of our hard work is this key, so we are going to raid the Elven Armory here. We're going to grab up a Mithril Hammer and a Bronze Glove to do our next instance of the equipment glitch here. With that Bronze Gloves, we will be glitching the Sage's Staff onto our White Mage and our Thief. And then with that Mithril Hammer, we will be putting Thief's Armlets onto every single member of our party. So the Sage's Staff is useful because it gives us a bit of an intelligence boost to our party members here that does factor in not only to magic spell damage, but minorly into running chance. But the important part here is these Thief's Armlets that we are glitching onto our party. I believe each Thief Armlet by itself gives a flat +5 to your agility, and when you stack all of these up and it factors into our run calculation, we are now very, very favorable to run from random encounters. So anything we do not have to fight, anything that is not an unrunnable encounter or a boss, we will, as much as possible, just want to run from them. If we can't ensure that we get no encounters, we want to make sure that we can run from them very, very quickly. Another thing to note here, actually, that's relevant here is that Suiko had a little bit of a misstep there, but he parked the ship very, very far on those dock tiles and then walked around the port there. This is to take advantage of safe squares. The dock tiles do not generate encounters, and so that's just another way to avoid counters. Just because you can still run into a few encounters on those few ocean tiles there. Canucker unfortunately getting another Sahagin encounter, but with the Thief's Armlets now, we're still fairly favorable to run from them. If you miss some runners will opt to cast that Thundara magic just to ensure that the encounter is ended in that one round there. Suikoboj picked up the Nitro Powder, and Canucker is now making his way around to pick that up in the castle as well. These are more rooms that were locked behind Mystic Keys here, but this Nitro Powder is our last bit of progression item before we that will open up the map to us before we make our way to the Earth Cave. Suiko getting a little bit unlucky with the run luck here, so it looks like he's opting to instead defend with his party and casting that Thundara with the Black Mage to just guarantee that we end this in that next round. Another benefit of all of these agility boosting gear is that we are manipulating our turn order to ensure that our party goes as soon as they can. Turn order will be something that plays heavily into the final boss fight of this game here, but we still see the benefits of this early by allowing our party to go sooner in the turn order instead of having to wait for the enemies to take their turns. So we are neck and neck, our racers right now, just high-fiving each other back and forth as they are making their way into the Dwarf Cave, as Canucker is the first one to make it in. Suikoboj not far behind him at all. So Canucker now talking, and Suikoboj is now talking to this NPC. Narek, we take the Nitro Powder to him in order to open up a canal, which will allow us to leave this little landlocked area we found ourselves in this early portion of the game. There, Narek not quite the smartest NPC there is, because he believes the best way to open up the canal is to just completely blow out all the land underneath that with this Nitro Powder. This, I'm sure, has several consequences that we do not see in this game. We never come back here again in a normal run. So my assumption is that the Dwarf Cave just flooded out from all this ocean water that is coming in through that now open canal, and the dwarves have met an unfortunate end. We can never know because we never come back here again. Hopefully the dwarves have made it out safe afterward. All right, so now we are coming up to arguably one of the most important equipment glitches in the run here. As we make our way out of the Dwarf Cave, we are going to sail to the town of Melmon. For plot purposes, the town of in a normal glitchless run and in a casual playthrough, Melmon is a very this portion of the game is very dangerous because Melmon does not have, for plot reasons, an item shop or and more importantly a chapel with which you can revive your characters. So if you do not have healing items or Phoenix Downs, or if you were playing NES and you did not have a way to revive characters, otherwise you would have to sail all the way back to either Corneria or Elfland in order to revive your party there. But within Melmond, there is a armor shop that sells these steel gloves. This is a very important piece of gear because this will allow us to glitch the strongest weapon in the game, the Barbarian Sword, as Suikoboj is the first one to make it into Melmond to grab those steel gloves. Selling off the Knight's armor just to make sure that we have our money there. Money is not an issue when you can create items from nothing here. So we will be glitching that Barbarian Sword onto our Thief and our Warrior. The Barbarian Sword has a base attack of 125 and additionally gives you a flat 15 bonus to your strength. So this is a very powerful physical weapon. I believe it is the strongest weapon in the game in terms of raw stats. You would need so much magic damage to intelligence to just match the amount of magic damage you can do here, that these physical damage that the Barbarian Sword is the reason why this run is so fast, and we don't need to go out of our way to get any like buffing spells or anything of that like there, as Suiko is our first runner to make it into the Earth Cave now. So the Earth Cave is not terribly dangerous except for a few specific floors. The worst thing you can run to maybe on the second floor here is a gargoyle pack. Those are a little bit annoying just because they are a bit more on the agile side, but again, we have those thieves armlets. They're not nearly as bad as if we didn't have those there, as Canucker has now made his way into the Earth Cave as well. So the dangerous part comes when we get to floor 3, which Suikoboj is now coming up on. On the third floor of the Earth Cave, we have the Pisca demons that we ran into on that trap tile in the Marsh Cave return, and they are an unrunnable encounter in this floor 3. We can also run into cockatrices. Those are the enemies that I mentioned previously that we get those gold needles for because we have no way to undo petrification otherwise. There's also 2 different packs of undead with rates as well as ghoul ghasts, and so those can paralysis lock to you, and if your entire party gets paralysis, that is what is a paralysis lock, as both Canucker and Suikoboj opting not to safety save here. It's Suikoboj made his way to the vampire. So the vampire is our first instance where we can see the power of the barbarian sword. Vampire normally has a very, very high physical defense, but 650 damage with that barbarian sword physical defense does not matter. So Canucker unfortunately did get his warriors petrified there, as Suikoboj also got petrified, but that is why we have those gold needles. We have 2 petrified. This might be a bit of a risky scenario for Suiko. That's 3. Let's see here. Okay, he is opting to judgment step. Oh no! Oh, that is a total party petrification for Suikoboj. Oh, I do not recall if he safety saved. Oh my goodness. I did not see a safety save at the start of the dungeon floor. I don't know if he saved after the vampire. Oh no, you do not want to see that there. We will see if what Suiko wants to do. I am not in the SRL room, unfortunately, so I don't know what if we will be getting a reset request here. Canucker making now his way backtracking out of the Earth Cave. So okay, so Suiko is resetting here. We'll see what he wants to do. Okay. So Canucker now making his way out of the Earth Cave here, and so we making our way backtracking out of the Earth Cave now. That is the danger of the Earth Cave, and that is why we grabbed those gold needles there. It is unfortunate though that we got the petrification on the entire party. So Canucker now has made his way out of the Earth Cave and will be making his way to detour to pick up the Earth Rod here. So for plot parts here, like the vampire was guarding the Star Ruby, which prevented and we were not able to travel further down into the Earth Cave here. So we grabbed the Star Ruby in order to talk to this giant in order to grab our next item afterward. I believe that it. Let me confirm. And that is unfortunately a forfeit from Suikoboj there. That's unfortunate there. So under the rules of our tournament, their runners can request a reset. It is up to the other runner to accept that or not. There, it looks like those Suiko will be forfeiting here, but Canucker will still need to finish out his run in order to register a time here. So for now, we're going to be continuing through with Canucker finishing out this race. So Canucker picked up the Earth Rod. This is our this is our plot progression item for the next part of this game here. This will allow us to traverse back into those bottom floors of the Earth Cave. And again, this is due just kind of a byproduct of the early NES era RPGs in order to ensure that they gave you as much content as they could with what little they could provide you. They had you do a lot of these back and forth fetch questing. So Canucker now getting a little bit unfortunate with these encounter luck here, but nothing too terribly dangerous. The worst thing you could see here is either saber teeth, which are a little bit on the faster end there. They might waste some time with your run chance. There's also ghoul ghasts in the overworld, which can potentially paralysis lock your party. So fingers crossed we do not see that here. There's the ghoul ghasts. And we made our way okay. When Canucker made his way out okay. So now this is our second trip through the Earth Cave here down, making our way down, and we're going to full clear it this time. We're just going to beeline it straight to the Lich. And so this is where RNG can be a blessing or a curse to how good your run is, depending on what type of random encounter luck and the frequency that you get these encounters. This dungeon, you can get through this dungeon very, very quickly or very, very slowly. So Canucker now has made his way back to the third floor of the Earth Cave, and it will be taking a safety save. So once again, now running into those Pisca demons. Again, these are still unrunnable from the Marsh Cave here. Unfortunately, it looks like did not ether the Black Mage, and so we'll have to use that Judgment staff to clear out this pack because we cannot run from it. The reason why we picked up those magics on our Black Mage early was to avoid using this Judgment staff here, because Thundara and Fyra both have much shorter animations compared to the Flare spell and still get the job done in terms of damage there. I believe it saves in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 seconds difference in animations per time you cast that spell there, and that quickly adds up over the course of the run if you get a lot of those encounters which you can't run from. So very good on Canucker to ether up his mages after that encounter, ensure that he doesn't have to resort to that Judgment Staff again. So now we make our way to this room behind the vampire's room. So unfortunately, looks like we get another Pisca Demon ambush. Or not necessarily, excuse me, not an ambush, just another Pisca Demon counter. Unfortunately, looks like a little bit of a mismenu tried to run there, so now we're just going to Thundara the party down. So using that Earth Rod, we clear up this little stone tablet that was blocking our way, and we made our way to the fourth floor of the Cavern of Earth. Fourth floor isn't too terribly different from the third floor, but we still can run into those undead packs, those Pisca demons, those cockatrices, but there's a few extra encounters which we can potentially run into, which kind of dilute the chances of running into them. That's all right, Suiko. You were both you were doing very very well. It's just on some really unfortunate RNG there. So Canucker now has made his way to the fifth floor of the Earth Cave now, and is up to our first fiend, the Lich. So looks like we'll be healing up, doing the alternate strat to heal up the party to full, because there is his HP is high enough that on the party that they could potentially survive a Blizzard. A safety save is expected and totally acceptable for the Lich, because even with all of these agility gears that we have glitched on, Lich has a chance to outspeed us in the turn order, and if he does, he can cast the Blizzard, which our party may potentially wipe too. So a little bit of a low roll there from the warrior there. So just under that 1200 hit points that Lich has there. There's the Blizzara, but fortunately, because he healed the party to full, what's it called, was able to tank it through and finish this out in 2 rounds. Normally, depending on your HP rolls, you would opt to not heal and just do the safety save for that one there, and then just take the reset if Lich outspeeds you and get the Bazaar, or you don't get the damage roll. It is fairly favorable though that the between the warrior and the thief on the barbarian sword that you can get to that 1200 points of damage there. On average, you will get that there. So this is a cutscene that is unskippable, unfortunately, revealing the Earth Gift Shrine. This is one of those bonus dungeons that were added to the GBA versions. These unlock every single time you beat one of the respective 4 fiends. And a nice convenient teleport out. Be teleported, make our way out of the Earth Cave. So for this next portion here, we are going to actually purposefully not heal our warrior and our thief, although it looks like Canucker is opting to do a small amount of healing, not to full though on the thief. The reason for this is because we want to keep our warrior and our thieves' HP low for this upcoming portion here. So we have now beaten our first of our 4 fiends, and the world map has kind of opened up to us now, but we still don't have a whole lot of places that we can go to. So we're going to make our way now to the next town, Crescent Lake, and pick up our next overworld progression item, the canoe. This will allow us to access our next destination that we go to in this run, which is the Ice Cave, and that will be where most of our all of our level grinding is done for the remainder of the run here. And the reason why we keep our warrior and our thief's HP low is because we actually do want to temporarily kill them off in order to split EXP between just our mages rather than all 4 characters of our party. This will allow them to level up very, very quickly to our target level is just under level 18, if not on 18 specifically, so that by the time we beat Marilith, our next fiend, we are at level 19 on our mages, and we can buy the level 5 black and white magic spells we need for the run. So again, we are on Crescent Lake. We're just on these forest tiles. There's not a whole lot you can do to avoid them. You kind of just have to push through as best you can. Canucker, unfortunately, getting some bad encounter luck here. But looks like was able to make it to Crescent Lake. Should be one more encounter here. All right, so in Crescent Lake now, we will be doing our next instance of the equipment glitch. We are going to stop into this armor shop and grab the mithril gloves, and then quickly loop around back to the weapon shop to grab a mithril axe. So the mithril axe we will be using to glitch the black garb, I believe it is. There's a black garb and a black robe there, so the names get very confusing. Yes, so it's black garb. These give us even more agility than the thief's armlets do, and so we will be glitching those onto every single party member except our warrior. An unfortunate part of the equipment glitch is that you need to have somebody that can equip the original item that you're the original item that you have, and you glitch it onto another party member. Unfortunately, none of our other party members can equip that mithril axe to put black garbs on the warrior, so he will just be running with those thieves armlets for the foreseeable future there. The other thing that we are glitching onto our mages here is an item known as the Lust Dagger. This was an item that was, I believe it was found actually during the tournament last year. There was this kind of a pioneer during the last tournament there. But the Lust Dagger is an item that gives additional agility onto our mages and allows them to ensure that they go sooner in the turn order there. So for the benefit for that being that our black mage can, if we have to fight into those unrunnable encounters, the black mage can go sooner in that turn order to get those AoE spells off. So it just gives us a lot more consistency for those random encounters. So now we have acquired the canoe at Crescent Lake, and we are now making our way out of Crescent Lake to the ice cave. Canucker getting a little bit lost, a little bit too far down. We will be sailing down south that direction, but we will be doing that after we have finished our level grind in the ice cave. So now, making our way up this river on this canoe. Again, those river and ocean tiles do have the lowest encounter rate there, so we don't anticipate seeing too many encounters on the river. But for the river specifically, if we do, because of how they handled the encounters in the remakes, they actually combined the easy and harder encounters in the river. So there is a chance you could potentially run into something dangerous on the river, but fortunately Canucker dodged those bad encounters here. Now, the ice cave that we are coming up into is another area that is terribly inconsistent for our RNG, and this often is an area where leads change a lot in races. Canucker took a safety save before this ice cave, and this is one of the many reasons why this area is just so bad. Pisca demons are back from the still, and they are encountered in much higher packs, and they are still unrunnable. Additionally, there are much more undead encounters which can potentially paralysis lock your party. Cockatrices return with mummies in them, so you have a chance of being put to sleep and petrified. And then on later floors, we can run into ice wolves, ice gigases, which are unrunnable, and there is a rare encounter chance to run into white dragons. And white dragons, if we run into a large enough pack of them, and if they decide to do their ice storm, it can potentially wipe the party because we are specifically not healing. Canucker just dodged an encounter with mind flayers there. They are additionally another bad encounter in this area. The mind flayers have an AoE paralysis skill called Mind Blast, and their physical attacks have Death Touch on them. So they will paralysis you, and then they will just attack you until you die to Death Touch. So unfortunately, it looks like Canucker now just running into this unrunnable Ice Gigas Ice Wolf encounter. We'll have to sit through these animations here in order to make it through. And it looks like opting to use the Judgment Staff, I believe, just for faster menuing here, possibly to save on ethers there. But the fire animation would still be faster than this flare, but I don't know with our current intelligence on our Black Mage if we would have enough of intelligence to AoE them down with just a single fire. So falling down this ice hole here into now another trap tile. This is a overloaded trap tile that is kind of designed in such a way that to guarantee that you have a large monster pack, but with our agility gear between the black garbs and the thief armlet, able to run from that no problem. Checking our warrior and our thieves HP there, they're about at that right level where we want them to be. Might have to do a little bit of healing on that black mage just because it is a little low. The black mage can potentially die to the ice thunder. Alternatively, though, if Canucker decides to not heal the black mage, I actually can understand that the maximum HP of the black mage currently is on the lower side, so it could very well be that the black mage will still die to Thundara regardless, even if they were to be healed to max HP. So we got another trap towel here, and it looks like Canucker is opting to heal both of his mages to full HP, taking a safety save just in case misstep off of this little 4 square area, and we have now the evil eye. So we are going to be defending, and we want the eye to cast Thundara, which they did right away. Black mage lived as well. That's excellent. So now we are all set up for our grind here. Between all of the black agility gear we have with the black garb and the lust dagger, our mages will I believe just always outspeed the eye, and then we can just melee him down, melee through his 162 hit points with that lust dagger, and we will get our levels on our mages very, very quickly. Again, our target level is level 18. So that by the time we finish Marilith, we will be at 19 to get the spells we need. Another option that Canucker might opt for is to go level 17 and take one extra fight, because we do have upcoming in our next area some unrunnable encounters and encounters that we have to take regardless. So we will use those to make up the EXP difference here. But this is why we wanted our thief and our warrior to be low, so that we can just very quickly set up this EXP grind. So both mages now at 16. Looks like there's the 17 there. So we'll see if Canucker opts to do the 17 and one extra strategy, or we'll be going all the way to level 18. So 18 on the white mage, and it looks like wants to just top off that black mage to get to level 18 there. Should just be this one final eye. Yep, all good there. So grabs the lava stone. So this lava stone was the main reason we come to this ice cave. This is our progression item, which allows us to acquire our airship now. So we fall back down this hole right before the trap tile, and then we bring just the thief back up. The reason why we do this is because we still want to split EXP amongst our mages, but also the thief, if we can get the thief to level 14, when they class change to a ninja, can potentially use the haste spell. At level 14, the ninja can learn up to level 4 black magic, and then by the time we get to chaos, with the levels that we get throughout the run, the ninja has a chance to get to, I believe it's the 15 MP needed to cast the haste spell, and if the ninja can cast haste, that is one turn of setup we save on the chaos fight there. A lot of this stuff we do in the speed run is just to set up this chaos fight. Unfortunately, Canucker getting ambushed by cockatrice mummies here. We are at a much higher level, and we comparatively, and we do have the black garb, which does boost our magic defense here. So no one got petrified. That's the important thing, and we were able to get out there with no problems. Again, this is why the ice cave is such a dangerous place, is because you can just die from nothing. There's, out of all the encounter tables, there is only one encounter which cannot potentially kill you outright, and that is the red bones. So now we just backtracking our way out of this river area, and we're going to sail to pick up our airship. And then the next place we will be going to after this is the Citadel of Trials to get class change here. This is a little bit of a detour. If you were to do this as soon as possible, this is maybe about 10 minutes overall of a detour, but the equipment that the benefits that we get in the PSP version from being able to cast teleport, as well as promoting our thief to a ninja just to greatly increase his damage per round is well worth it, and we easily make up all that time, if not get a bit extra from it. So it is well worth it to do class change in PSP, and this has all been very repeatedly tested to do the class change after you do the level grind rather than before. Unfortunate ambush here with a Sahagin Chief Shark counter. We should have enough agility on the Black Garb to run. That looks like we don't here, so we'll see if Canucker decides to attempt the run again, or if he will just use the Thundar to just wipe out the party here. Alright, opted to run, got the second try run. So now sailing down south a bit here, just gotta follow the land, and we'll get to the desert area that will get us to our airship. So another instance of a non-skippable cutscene into a skippable cutscene into a non-skippable section. If we didn't have that skippable part, though, this cutscene would take about a minute and a half. So again, these cutscene skips do save a lot of time throughout the run, and it does add up. So it's very useful to have this in PSP. So Canucker now will make his way to the Citadel trials here. The unfortunate part about the airship is that you do have to land it on a plain grass tile, and this is the closest one that is to the Citadel here. The danger that we have in this area is we can potentially run into a sandworm. That is the one encounter we don't want to see. A sandworm. The reason for that, and it's not very likely, but if you run into a sandworm, if it happens to ambush you, and if it happens to, in its first action, do earthquake, those combination of events can lead to a total party wipe, and Canucker did opt to not save after landing the airship. So if that unfortunate circumstance were to happen, that would be a run over. So almost there to the Citadel, and we made it through okay. So you do have to talk to this NPC. You can, in order to activate the teleporters, you could skip him in the NES version. They made it so you had to talk to them in the remakes here. Now, this teleporter maze is a little confusing to newer runners here, but the very simple way to remember which way you have to go is to always take the bottommost teleporter. So in some areas you only have the one, but if you have the option of two, just take the one that's positioned lower on the screen here. A little bit of a bend here. Walk as we get an encounter. Horn Devil is not the worst thing in the world. And then take that bottom teleporter that just peeked out the bottom of the screen there, and we got a unrunnable encounter with Minotaur zombies. So this is part of the reason why some runners will opt to do level 17 plus 1 eye, because we can potentially run into these Minotaur zombies, and these are very good encounters for EXP, in spite of the fact that they are unrunnable, and usually one fight either between like the Minotaur zombies or an upcoming trap tile we have to step on will be enough to get us to that level 18. So made it throughout, no problems here. Gotta go down this little bit of a corridor here. Ambushed by Mind Flayers. This could potentially be bad. Okay, so both of our mages are paralyzed, and the thief unfortunately did get that. So now we are at the mercy of RNG here. So the white mage did come up. We need Mind Blast to... What's it called? We need to... The fortunate part is while they're paralyzed, they cannot be re-paralyzed through Mind Blast, so we just need the Death Touch to miss, and we're able to get out of there. That is a very... Oh, geez, that was a very scary situation to be in. Mummies aren't nearly as bad. Mummies just put you to sleep. Alright, so stepping on a trap tile here now. So Canucker opting to fight the nightmares for the experience. We do have to traverse over this trap tile twice because we are going to grab the healing staff that is in this chest here and glitch that is used to glitch lordly robes onto our mages now, and it looks like Canucker is opting to glitch one of those onto the black mage early. This is a choice in order to make sure that the black mage has that intelligence boost to get those damage ranges, just one Lordly Robe is enough to push him over the edge into that next damage multiplier for the intelligence calculation. And so now we've made our way past the nightmares. Got to loop around this little portion here. Preemptive Strike on Munduses is great. Preemptive Strikes are always welcome. Preemptive Strikes are a guaranteed run. Horn Devil is now slowing us down on this chest. One step encounter that is very unfortunate to see. That is something that can happen in the PSP version of this game, as well as GBA. And we pick up this rat's tail. This was the item that we came here for. This is what will allow us to do the class change chest, and then we have to step on this trap tile one more time before we get to leave here. Double Dragon Zombie is very good to see for experience. 2 Dragon Zombies gives just about the same amount of EXP as one single eye fight. So bam, that is level 19 on our mages and level 14 on our thief. So our ninja will be able to learn haste. Now the only question is that will we get enough MP growths by the time we get to the chaos that the ninja can get that haste spell? Usually it does happen. Sometimes you can low roll on the MP growths there. So Canucker now making his way back to the airship. These Sphinxes actually can potentially mess up the party. They are fast enough, but Canucker was able to get through this no problem. Sabertooth Were-Tiger, not an issue. Almost there. The desert tiles, again, have the lowest encounter rate, and as I say that, he runs into an encounter. Just don't want to see those sandworms. That is the one thing we don't want to see. Just got to get through a little bit of this forest, and we are back on our airship. All right. So now we are detouring to finish out the class change quest. We are going to sail to these Cardia Islands here to land on this specific island. The encounter was not necessary game, but we got a preemptive, so it's all good there. And now we go down Bahamut's needlessly long needlessly long hallways as Gyre, a very, very, very knowledgeable FF1 runner of all versions of the game, most notably, mostly known for the NES version there. But we go down Bahamut's ridiculously long hallways, talk to this gigantic dragon, show him this rat tail as a proof of our bravery, and he awards us with the class change. So class change affords us not in a glitchless or in a casual setting. Class change is very useful because it allows your party to equip not only better gear, but it also unlocks the ability to use some higher level spells. Specifically for the any percent run that we do, we just need it for the class change. Again, because of the equipment glitch, we do not care about equipment. As long as we have a character that can use some item, we can glitch pretty much any item we want to onto a certain party member, as long as we have the correct gear to do that glitch. But we need the class change in order to cast the teleport spell. Unfortunately, that is locked behind class change. So now Canucker is going to do a little bit of a shopping trip before we make our way to our next bus. We're going to go to the caravan here and buy this fairy bottle as well as some Giant's tonics. So the fairy bottle is used to get the Oxio, which is our progression item that we need in order to access the Sea Shrine, which we'll be going to later in the game. And then those Giant's tonics will be used at the Chaos fight. We don't need the full 11. It's just faster to do that one up than it is to buy the specific amount of Giant's tonics we potentially need. So that ferry flew away, and then now we just gotta make our way around to the back of the town of Gaia to get the Oxio from the ferry at the lake. Ferry dives down for us, comes back up, and gives us our Oxio. Yes, unfortunately, Suiko got a full party petrification to a cockatrice encounter in the Earth Cave, and unfortunately did have a wipe there. So unfortunately was not able to finish out this race here. So Canucker now has gotten all of his items that he's needed, and will be now going to the volcano here. The volcano is a very, very inconsequential dungeon in almost any version of the speed run you run for this game, regardless of the version. Normally, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to play by the rules of the floor is lava and not step on all the lava tiles. But for a speed run, the lava tiles, even though you increment 1 point of damage every single tile you step on them, they do not generate encounters. So for a speed run, we want to step on as many lava tiles as possible in order to make sure that we can very, very quickly make it through the dungeon here. So we have one encounter so far, and looks like Canucker is getting a little bit lost here in the volcano. There isn't like great landmarks to navigate your way through here. It's kind of just something you have to get through repetition and memory. It is possible to see a zero encounter volcano in PSP because of how low the encounter rate is. One thing that we do need to keep in mind, however, is that because we are stepping on all these lava tiles, our party's HP does get very dangerously low, and we do have the potential to run to some encounters that not only have AoEs, but we can run into ambushes here still, but the ones that have AoE skills are particularly deadly because they hit all the members. So was able to dodge those ambushes there. They are able to get away. So we're now going to revive our warrior, heal up our party, and now we're going to fight Marilith. It looks like Canucker is just deciding which party members he wants to heal because he was running out of potions there. So safety save here just in case, because he was not able to get that full heal. Marilith is not a terribly dangerous boss. The worst thing she can do is the Fyra spell, which will do about maybe like 100+ damage to our party here. But again, between the Barbarian Sword and all of this equipment that we have here, we will outspeed her in most instances and just take her out before she can really have a chance to do anything particularly dangerous. So that is our second of 4 fiends defeated now. So that's the Hellfire Chasm unlocked. We do not detour into any of the bonus dungeons in the any percent category. In a casual playthrough, you might consider detouring into a bonus dungeon because the 4th ribbon that was added to the game so that you could have ribbons on all party members is in the bonus dungeons, but that would take, in a speed run, that would take more time than we would save in order to do that there. So now we've beaten Marilith, and we're going to detour now one more time to get to back to Elfheim Castle here to pick up our level 4 black magic. So we're going to make our way up to the west corner of the town to pick up Haste and Blizzara on our black wizard, and Haste on both. It looks like I was mistaken, and the ninja was not at a high enough level to get that haste spell. So that is unfortunate, but the important part here is that the black mage has to be 19 in order to learn the spells that we need, because if we are not level 19, specifically after Marilith, we cannot do the shopping we are doing now here in Melmon. We grab Kilara for our white mage and Teleport for our black mage. Teleport is a utility spell which takes you back to the previous floor of a dungeon that you're in, and Healara is an AoE healing spell, which will be our the predominant way that we heal our party for the remainder of the run there. But we will not be picking up any other magics after this. So now we are in go mode essentially, and we just want to do all of our plot progression and make it to the end of the game as quick as possible. Again, you cannot land an airship on anything except a plain grass tile, and this is the closest tile that we can land the airship to get to the town of on Rock. So this is where we will enter the Sea Shrine, and we cannot enter the Sea Shrine without the Oxio. We got good NPC luck here, so that blue hair can potentially block you, and depending on which way he moves, can waste some time here. So menu boss. Canucker. Okay, Canucker defeated the menu boss in the PSP version. The when it asks you if you want to enter this the barrel submarine in the PSP version, for whatever reason, they default the cursor to no. So if you are just mashing, you will just talk to that barrel over and over again and never get into it. I don't know why they made this change, because as far as I know, it defaults to yes in both GBA and PS1. So the Sea Shrine isn't terribly dangerous to us, again, because we are just geared out with the equipment glitch. But there are a few encounters we don't want to see in here. There are 3 groups of unrunnable encounters that we can potentially run into. These white sharks, while agile, are at least runnable, and so they're not terribly dangerous here. Canucker looks like he's getting some good luck so far. Okay, more sharks, that's fine. All right, made it through the mermaid's floor with no encounters. So, so we go up the earth, the Sea Shrine, in order to detour to grab the Rosetta Stone, which is an item we need for plot progression. And this is where having teleport is handy, because we don't need to backtrack our way all the way back around this mermaid floor. So this will be our first instance of the teleport spell. And then we'll see here. There's been recent stylistic reroute where because we need to pick up a light axe in the Sea Shrine. So, and there is a light axe on the 4th floor here. Some runners opt to grab it after teleporting back from the mermaid's floor. It looks like Canucker will be opting to grab the 2nd floor light axe instead. And the reason why we need that light X is because we will be glitching out yet another piece of gear for our party, the survival vest, which gives us even more agility than we already have. I want to say, I believe it's like plus 15 agility. I could be wrong. I don't have the numbers in front of me there, but it gives a flat 15 agility per gear, and we glitch 3 onto all of our party members, so that's 45 extra agility on top of the stats that we're getting from the armor already. Canucker getting some bad encounter luck as far as the frequency of the encounters, but at least has not run into any of the unrunnable encounters yet. So we'd like to see that continue through the Sea Shrine here. And one other thing that we will be keeping an eye on is the HP of the ninja and the black mage. They are a little bit on the lower side at the moment. We want to see about 310 HP on the ninja and like 250 plus on the black mage. So Canucker took a very specific path on this around to get to this chest here, because the tiles to the left and below this chest are trap tiles. So by stepping on it to the right, you dodge that encounter. What is the estimate time here? So any percent run will average between an hour and a half to an hour and 40 minutes. So we got maybe about half an hour left in this run to go before we finish. So grab that light axe there, glitching survival vest onto our ninja and our knight. And then we do lordly robes on our white mage, because we're trying to boost her intelligence while keeping her agility low. This is just all for setup on the chaos fight itself. And then for the black mage, we do a mix of survival vests and lordly roads, because in the black mage version of the Lust Dagger route that Canucker is doing, our black mage is our primary magic damage dealer. So we do still want to see some agility on them to ensure that the black mage goes as soon as possible within the turn order to get those spells off. If we run into an unfavorable encounter, we can just end it with that AoE spell very quickly. Getting some bad run luck there, but able to get the second try run. And again, Canucker, while he has had bad frequency of encounters, he has not, to my knowledge, up to this point, run into an unrunnable encounter. And again, there are 3 formations that are unrunnable in this Sea Shrine. So do we see an unrunnable encounter-less Sea Shrine? He got to Kraken, so we still can potentially see some encounters after Kraken, but getting to Kraken without any unrunnable encounters is still very good to see because a runnable encounter wastes maybe only 10 seconds. An unrunnable encounter can waste 30 seconds or more while you wait through animations. So again, Kraken is normally a very dangerous boss because of his physical hits, but because of all this armor we've glitched on, and with the Barbarian sword, his greatest strength is trivial. So we just kill him in one round with a couple swings of the Barbarian sword and take no damage in return. So that is our third crystal now lit of our 4. We're going to make. We have to go to the Waterfall Cavern to pick up one more progression item before we make our way to our next dungeon, as well as pick up a ribbon, which we'll be using for one final instance of creating new gear with the equipment glitch. So we make our way out of Onrock now, and we're just going to canoe up this river to the Waterfall Cavern. So the Waterfall Cavern, it is not a particularly dangerous place. It's more annoying than anything else because the Waterfall Cavern does have a high encounter rate for a cave dungeon. The one thing we don't want to see in here are green dragons. They are a 1 in 64 rare encounter in this dungeon, but they are flagged as unrunnable. And additionally, they do have an AoE skill, which can hurt the party quite a bit because we do not have any magical defenses against the earth element. Clay Golem ambush is unfortunate, but at least the Clay Golems are a very, very easy run. Even if we didn't have all this gear, they'd be very easy to run from. So the most threatening thing that we can probably see is nightmares. Cockatrices and Pyralists are still in this area, but we do have enough magic defense in all of our gear that we're fairly favorable to resist those spells. It can happen, and fingers crossed we don't see that as we make our way up to the upcoming trap tile where that guards the treasure room where the ribbon is. It's got a little bit of a nightmare encounter here that we have to work through. Alright, so we have another trap tile here that we have to step on. This is not it, it's on the other side of the door. Having a little bit of difficulty running from the nightmares. That just should show you how fast nightmares are. Okay, ambush by Pyralist mummies is not the worst thing. The Pyralists can cast that gaze, which does instant death, but the Pyralists at least do not have the Stone Trust. I believe they only have Paralysis Touch. Okay, so only a death on the warrior. and we are able to run there. And it looks like the robot is walking to Canucker, so actually he is getting one of the God Robot tiles. So we pick up the Warp Cube from the robot, which will allow us to access the Flying Fortress, which is the final dungeon that we need here. Can't leave just yet. We do need to pick up one item here. We need to grab this ribbon. The ribbon is a unique instance of the equipment glitch. Normally, for the equipment glitch, which you've seen thus far, we have just been getting one item and glitching it into something else. The ribbon now, however, is going to be an instance where we're going to glitch it back and forth, because we can use the ribbon to glitch the Gigantaaxe and then add that into our inventory. And because we have a Gigantaaxe in our inventory, we can then use that to glitch ribbons onto our other party members. So we don't need to go out of our way to pick up our other ribbons. We can just grab this one and glitch everything we need that way. So we're going to be putting ribbons on everyone, and it looks like Canucker is going to opt to not put the ribbon on the Black Mage quite yet, and that is again just to facilitate the Black Mage's ability to go as soon as possible in the turn order between the 2 Survival Vests and the Lordly Robes. So now we just have to make our way down this river back to our airship, and then we are going to make a quick detour back to Melmond so that we can turn in the Rosetta Stone to learn Lufanian, which we need in order to acquire the chime here. This Ogre Mage Hellhound encounter is a unrunnable encounter that you can unfortunately find in the overworld, and oftentimes runners will sometimes just mash the run command because they don't anticipate running into unrunnable encounters here. So we do have to fight this, unfortunately, but with the Blizzard, just a very easy one-turn kill. So Canucker now detouring to Melmond. Just gotta sail south a bit here. Alright. Make our way up and around here. Do we get NPC blocked? No, we're fine. Dr. Un is in an okay spot there. So we show Dr. Un the Rosetta Stone, and this allows him to understand Lufanian, and he then, in gratitude for bringing the Rosetta Stone to him, teaches us Lufanian. So we will now be able to use those to speak to the Lufanians. It looks like Canucker just doing a little bit of mashing there. That can happen when you're trying to get through the text boxes as soon as possible. And then now we are going to make our way back west. Yeah, west, not east, west. Make our way west and north to the Lufanian Peninsula, and this is one of the more annoying examples of being only able to land on a solid grass tile. We have to make our way all the way to the bottom end of this peninsula through all of these forest tiles in order to get to Lufania, and then we have to backtrack all the way back. So we have the potential to run into a lot of encounters here, and there is a potential, like right now on your screen with these Minotaur zombies, to run into unrunnable encounters here. But fortunately, they do still give us EXP. But for this portion of the game, because we are all set up as far as what we need for equipment, we actually don't want a whole lot of EXP. So one of the there's a lot of things that we're watching here in this end game portion of the run, trying to set it up for the Chaos fight. We are watching the HPs on our Ninja and our Black Mage to potentially go tonicless on Chaos, and which saves us some time on setup. And then we are also looking specifically at the level of our White Mage. If the White Mage gets to a high enough level, even though we take all of the agility equipment gear off, she has a chance that she can naturally grow to a agility level that can potentially either speed tie or outspeed Chaos. And what we're specifically trying to do with all of the gear that we are giving the White Mage is to ensure that she consistently goes last in the turn order after Chaos's damage has come out. So picking up the chime here from this Lufenian NPC, this is what we needed the Rosetta Stone for, and now we have our 2 items that we need 2 Axis Mirage Tower and the Flying Fortress, so we just gotta backtrack our way through this peninsula forest. There's not a whole lot you can do to dodge these encounters again, just because of how much force tiles there are, and it looks like Canucker is getting a little bit unfortunate with the number of unrunnable encounters he is getting. Almost there, got about a few more force tiles to go through and make our way back to the airship. Another Minotaur zombie encounter, however. So got to the so part of the reason why we go into this little pond here is because it does count as river tiles, and rivers do have a lower encounter rate than the forest. There did get that 1 encounter, but it was better than traversing through all that forest again and potentially getting even more unrunnable encounters. A short airship hop to this desert here, and we make our way into the Mirage Tower. Canucker just taking a little bit of a safety save outside here. Mirage Tower does have a fairly good chance of just being problematic for encounter rate, specifically on the 2nd floor. So getting Hellhounds already, got the preemptive there. These Chimeras do have an AoE blaze attack, which can waste time, but with our agility gear, we're fairly favorable to run from them. Ambush by Chimeras is what we don't want to see, though, specifically because of this blaze skill. If they all decide to do it, this just wastes time. And it looks like, okay, the Black Mage might go down here depending on the damage roll. That is unfortunate because the other benefit of the Riven, besides guarding against statuses, is that it does also have the amount of damage you take from certain elemental magics, fire, like blizzard, ice, thunder, and the like there. So that is unfortunate to see, but not a problem. We do have Phoenix Downs here. Vampire Fight is a runnable formation in PSP here in Mirage Tower. So again, this is kind of just demonstrating why Mirage Tower still can be a problematic area just because of the encounter rate. It's there is essentially no middle ground of encounters for Mirage Tower. You either get very few encounters, or you'll just get a ton of them. Hellhounds can also potentially waste time here, but their blaze skill is not nearly as threatening. It does very, very, very minuscule damage. Making our way now to the 3rd floor. And we have to step on 1 more trap tile, and this is where we have an encounter with a blue dragon. We could have potentially seen a blue dragon on the lower floors, but they're the rare 1 in 64 encounter, and again, Barbarian Sword meet Dragon, Dragon dead. I cannot stress enough how overpowered the Barbarian Sword is and how quintessential it is to ensuring that this run is as fast as it is. So now we just have to make our way up to the Flying Fortress and make our way to Tiamat. This Evil Eye that we saw back in the Ice Cave can show up as a random encounter and is still unrunnable, but we can just take him out, no problems there. And the nice thing about Flying Fortress is that we don't have to detour because we're all geared up, so we just want to beeline it as quick as we can to Tiamat's floor. That's right. If you do want to see a Warmech, get your hype, send Warmech your energy, get those blessed RNGs in chat, because we are coming up to the portion where we can potentially run into him. Just gotta make it through 1 more floor here, and then we hit the Bridge of Destiny. Alright, now we are on the Bridge of Destiny. Looks Canucker is opting to not save. We're just going to go across here. Preemptive strike on Dark Fighter. That is not a War Mech. Alright, so no War Mech before Tiamat, but what's it called? Don't give up hope yet. There are still about 15 tiles worth of space you have to take before you get to the exit tile. Within those few tiles, we can still potentially see a War Mech. The way that the the floors were redesigned, the boss's chambers do still have a chance to generate encounters. So Tiamat has 2,500 hit points, and Canucker is opting to do the safer of the strats by not hasting the ninja to potentially end this in one round. But with the barbarian sword and the amount of damage we do, it's a guaranteed two-round fight regardless. So no Thunderbolt AoEs or anything that we from Tiamat. That's good. We always want to see that there, especially because of how much damage that Tiamat can still do to us. One thing that I kind of have not been mentioning is that even though we are glitching all of this, overpowered gear onto our party, we still can die if circumstances allow it, because our defenses are in such a way that we can still take significant damage from bosses. So if especially in the Chaos Shrine Revisited on the Fiend refights, depending on the AI, we can still potentially die. So finishing up this cutscene now, got a few more squares here. Last chance to see a War Mech. Took some extra squares. Air Elemental. So unfortunately, we did not see a War Mech today, but don't worry, we still have plenty of tournament to go, and we have seen, I believe, one War Mech so far in this tournament, and we still have plenty more group stage matches to go. So War Mech unfortunately had a bad case of stage fright once again today. We did not see him. So Canucker now is just sailing down to the Chaos Shrine here, and we are entering now our final dungeon as we get rudely interrupted by this crazy horse. All right, so new to the PSP version, they added one extra bonus dungeon, and this cutscene is meant to show you where that dungeon is, as this guy bashes his head against the wall to create the entrance to that dungeon there. If you had never played any version of Final Fantasy I previously, you might have accidentally gone back there. You actually just had to go back into the same room you fought Garland in and talk to this black orb on screen with all 4 crystals in hand to access the past. All right, so now here we go, 2,000 years into the past. So these first few floors do have some potentially dangerous encounters on them. These white dragons are one of them. They are runnable, but we do have a chance to be ambushed by them, and they do still have their AoE Ice Storm ability. And if we run into 3 or 4 of them, and all of them do decide to do that Ice Storm attack, we can potentially die. Zombie dragons in larger packs, not terribly dangerous, but they are unrunnable, so they are a time waster there. Very short second floor, and then we just make our way to the 3rd floor now. We can't. Worst thing we don't want to see here are green dragons, because those are unrunnable, and they do come in larger packs here. So but fortunately we do have Blizzara for them. That is not only our fastest animation spell in, I believe in GBA they were, and previous versions they were weak to ice. I don't know if they've carried that over into PSP. They have had some programming changes going from GBA to PSP. So only 2 encounters on the third floor up until the Death Eye, and one of them was that Dark Fighter Dark Wizard there. So here's the Death Eye. And he's dead. Alright, so now we finally make use of that loot that we got way at the beginning of the game here to break open this slab in order to advance further down into the Chaos Shrine in the past. Alrighty then, so now we have to backtrack our way out of here, and we are still trying to dodge the same encounters here. These Chimera Ryos encounters, not terrible, they are a little bit agile. These Ice Gigas Winter Wolves we don't want to see either because these are still unrunnable even at this point in the game. Encounter one tile before the swear, and they are dragons. So we gotta make our way now. We've got one more floor we gotta backtrack to in order to make before we make it. Purple Worm is fine to see. It is just unrunnable, but we have no threat of death against it. So just very, very quickly take that guy out. Another Purple Worm here. This might be problematic depending on where Canucker's White Mage is on EXP. Again, we are very, very carefully trying to manipulate our party in such a way that we ensure that the White Mage goes last in the turn order here. So a White Dragon encounter here. None of them did the Ice Storm, which is good, but it looks like we are having a little bit of difficulty running from them. Black Mage gets it out in the second try though. All right, so made it through the worst of the Black Dragon floors, and now we are on to the Elemental floors here. So this each of these floors now are themed after one of the 4 fiends that we will be fighting at the very, very end of the floor. The one thing we don't want to see on this floor, the floor of Earth, are Earth elementals because they are an unrunnable encounter, and those will just waste time as we make our way to Lich. Not getting too bad here. All right, so we are at right before Lich. Safety save is understandable because Lich has the potential to cast the Flare spell if he gets a turn, and we don't necessarily have enough damage to end him in one round. It looks like Canucker is opting not to haste the Black Mage. There's the the Ninja. There's the Flare. That's probably a death on the Black Mage. Does the Ninja live? Okay. Oh, that's unfortunate there. So a little bit of a fast menu there, but we were able to get like about 1,500 or so damage, I want to say. It looks like Canucker will be opting to try and bring the party back up. He did have the safety save, so he can retry this if he needs to. Warp shouldn't do anything to our party as far as instant death is concerned. Okay, that's a physical miss, which is good. I believe we're about 1,000 damage off on Lich's HP. And there we go, able to clutch it out. That is the dangerous part of having low HP on the Ninja and the Black Mage, is that they can unfortunately go down to the Flare spell if Lich gets it there. So level 24 for the White Mage. We are still in okay range for the White Mage's levels. That shouldn't affect us for the turn order there. But it looks like Canucker will need to use Giant's Tonics on his Ninja and the Black Mage for the Chaos fight. Floor of Fire. That's a tongue twister. I didn't think that would actually be one. Marilith's floor is not terribly dangerous, and it's very, very short overall. Like, we don't want to see like red dragons or fire elementals, but Canucker doesn't have that problem there. Marilith, just as inconsequential as she was the first time, we just Barbarian Sword her to death and defend with our mages. Goes down Usually in about 3 rounds. Got the 2 round. All right, so now we are on to the sea shrine, the sea-themed floor. The one thing we don't want to see here is water elementals. The water elementals are one of the 3 packs that I mentioned way back at the sea shrine and are on screen right now. These are the unrunnable encounter here. Canucker did get lucky and didn't see any of these while he was at the sea shrine, but you are much more likely to see them here in the temple chaos shrine revisited part, just because there's much fewer selection of encounters that you can potentially run into here. Only got the 1 so far, and that was a very good stretch of no encounters here. So actually, a second water elemental pack here is not the worst thing in the world. That was a very good stretch of no encounters going up to Kraken and Kraken refight. Again, Kraken is not terribly dangerous because we have all of our physical defense. His most threatening attack, his physical attacks, does almost nothing to us. The worst thing he can do is this Thundara, but even then, that's not terribly dangerous for our party. We can just physical him down and damage race him before he even gets anywhere close to killing one of our party members. So Kraken is down, and we are on to our 4th floor, which is the floor of wind with Tiamat. Canucker just taking a quick moment to heal up his party before advancing further down. Stone golems are fine. There is a rare chance to run into iron golems, which are unrunnable. So here's Tiamat. Tiamat is the worst of the refights because she has 5,500 HP, and that is a huge jump from the previous Fiend. By comparison, Lich had 2,800, Marilith had I believe 3,200, and Kraken had somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,600 there. So unfortunate that the Thunderbolt happened there from Tiamat, but the Black Mage was able to get the haste off on the ninja, so we do have that increased damage there, and Tiamat goes down without any before she can get any more of her AoE skills off. That is the one scary thing about Tiamat, is that if she decides to do all of her AoE skills back to back, even with all of our gear, our party still can potentially go down. So now we've gotten through our Fiend refights, and we're on the final floor. There are no encounters on this last floor, so you can take as much time as you need to get to where you want to be and make sure that your party is set up for this final chaos fight here. So for this chaos fight, the first turn is the scariest. Again, I don't know if Canucker. Okay, so I know Canucker still has. Okay, it looks like he realized that. Yeah, there was one bit of menuing that he wanted to do before starting this fight, because he wanted to make sure that all of his equipment is got in there. Canucker is opting to not ether the ninja because the ninja unfortunately was not high enough level to get haste for the ninja. So the ninja does not have any magic spells that he can cast at this moment. Okay, so yeah, that was the thing that Canucker forgot to do, was take the Lust Dagger off of the White Mage here. So again, we want to ensure that the White Mage goes consistently last in the turn order, because we want to make sure that her heal comes off after Chaos has already done his damage for the round. Chaos can either physical hit someone for a lot of damage. He can either do an AoE a spell, or he can do an AoE elemental skill. The things we don't want to see him do is go very aggressively through his spell list, because he can potentially... The 4th spell in his list is Kiraj Ja, which will heal him for half of his HP. Chaos has 20,000 hit points, and Kiraj Ja will heal him for 9,999. So what we're doing here on this first turn of setup is we are going to be throwing a Giant's Tonic onto both of our Ninja and our Black Mage. There's the Blaze. This might be potentially scary. Black Mage is low enough that this Blaze can kill, clutching it out with 5 HP there. So we're not out of the woods yet, as the Healara did come through before the Knight threw his Giant's Tonic for the turn. I think the Knight still had Thief's Armlets equipped, so was not able to get that tonic out earlier. So it will be up to what Chaos does here. Physical on the White Mage, the physical attack is fine. On the White Mage is a little scary now, because depending on what her HP will be at now, if Chaos does decide to do another AoE skill, she could potentially go down here. It looks like she's out of the danger zone. We have haste on both of our Ninja and our Knight now. What's it called? Physical on the Knight is excellent. Okay, so all of our damage dealers now have haste on them. Our Knight and our Ninja, Ninja especially being the primary damage dealer, and we are now in hold X to win. One of the things that Canucker did do before starting this fight, when he was doing all of his final equipment, was put the Barbarian Sword on the Black Mage. So this will help contribute about another 1,000 damage per round. So yeah, very, very fortunate that Black Mage survived the Blaze with the first with as low HP the Black Mage had on the first turn then here. So we are in hold X to win. We don't have much threat of dying, and we are now just damage racing Chaos to the finish here, doing about 4,000, 5,000 damage per round. Slow rub is bad, but not the worst thing. The haste spell just doubles the amount of attacks you do per round. Slow will have them. It doesn't affect anything as far as turn order is concerned. Canucker opting to just push through because the Ninja is still hasted, and there we go. That is Chaos dead. So Canucker finishing out 143.30 RTA. I unfortunately do not know his official SRL time, but I imagine it won't be too much longer beyond that. Very, very well done by Canucker. Congratulations to him for finishing out the race here. Give me one moment while we see here if Canucker is available for a post-game interview. Once again, GG to Canucker. Finishing out 140 is a very respectable time for this category, especially in a race setting with the amount of safety saves an extra safety that you do in the run here. Just waiting to see if Canucker would like to do a post-game interview here. So just give us a few moments while we double check that. Okay. I'm just double checking the schedule real quickly here. If I don't hear back from Canucker soon, we might just close things out here. Let's see here. Unfortunately, not in the post-game chat here. So I am not hearing anything back, so I am just I guess I guess here we do have yes. Looking at the speed gaming schedule, we do have another tournament that is kind of behind us here. So I think what I will do is I'm just going to move to well, I just want to thank everyone for coming out and joining us for this tournament match today. Thank you to our racers Suiko and Canucker for for participating in the Total Chaos tournament. Continues along that we can bring this game to you for everyone to enjoy. Thank you again to Speed Gaming for hosting the restream for this tournament match here. We do have much more races to come. I believe our next scheduled match is actually for tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern between Alsabi and Holy Smith. I apologize if I mispronounced any of those names there, but yes, I think that will call it for us. Again, shout outs to the FF1 community. Again, thank you to Speed Gaming, and thank you again for joining us today. I am Toku Hero, and I wish you all a great rest of your day. So thank you again for watching, and we hope to see you on our